Oh my gosh. Whoa, oh my gosh.
This video is sponsored by Heritage Landscape Supply and Hunter FX Luminaire. Today we're back with my good friend Kevin from Hunter and FX Luminaire, and we're about to turn my plain, ordinary home into a luxurious nighttime oasis. Let's do this.
George, here at your house, we're going to use 3 different styles of lighting. We're going to use uplighting, and that refers to any fixtures that are mounted on the ground directionally pointed up. Then in addition to that, we're also going to use downlighting. That's where we'll have fixtures mounted at an elevated position with the lumens pointing downwards, replicating moonlighting. And then the third style of lighting we're going to use here at your house is something we call path lighting, more of directional lighting for walkways and things of that nature. Now, George, let's talk about the areas of your front yard that we want to illuminate. The first thing that jumps out at me, personally, is this beautiful maple tree right behind me. We're going to give that some extra special attention. As I walk the front of your green space, the other areas of interest that we're definitely going to highlight is the birch tree to the left-hand side of your home. And then you really have a nice landscape bed up here with bushes and a combination of flowers. So we're going to make sure we illuminate all of that as well. Now, when I slide over here closer to your front door, I'm going to illuminate this entire walkway for you as well. We're also going to illuminate the front of your garage. It's got a beautiful peak. We'll throw some light up there, give it some nice balance and highlight, and you're not going to believe what this place looks like at night once it's all finished. All right, George, so here in your backyard, first thing that jumps out at me is this beautiful maple tree. So we're gonna make sure we do a really good job of illuminating that. When you look beyond the maple tree, I'm gonna highlight that shed back there. I had a conversation with your wife, Vicky, earlier, and she said periodically she has to put you in the timeout. And I said, where's that located? She said the back right-hand corner of the property. So for that reason, we're gonna throw a little illumination on that as well, but it won't be quite as intense as what you see here on the maple. The next thing that really pops out for me is your campfire pit. In addition to that, we're also going to illuminate this garden and this beautiful bush you have here in the back corner, along with the roses. The last thing we're going to illuminate is your back patio. So whether you're a homeowner or a contractor, the fastest and easiest way to design your landscape lighting system is to take some shots with your smartphone of all the areas you want to light, and then from there, go to fxl.com and click on My Design. It'll let you drag and drop those photos in, and as you can see here, I can place the fixtures exactly where I want them and hit night mode, and even though it's a daytime shot, it'll show you what it's going to look like at night. Here at FX Luminaire, we make landscape lighting product for anyone's budget. But for George's house, we're gonna use the Core Collection because it's professional grade product at entry-level pricing. The fixtures are solid brass and tote a 10-year warranty, also include a 10-foot lead for your connection point. In addition to that, the antique bronze finish makes it match and blend right into your landscape seamlessly. This is the CA51 accent light. This can be used as an uplight or as a downlight, depending upon your mounting base. If used as a ground mount fixture, then it would be an uplight. If we use a flange mount, then you could use it as a downlight. It's very versatile as well with an adjustable eyebrow. This is what we refer to as an in-grade fixture. This is a ground mount fixture that typically goes in turf or hardscape inside of a 2.5-inch PVC sleeve. So it's mounted flush with grade, emitting light in an upward direction. This next fixture is the Petite Wall Wash, which is a ground mount fixture that has a diffuser over it, which emits a softer volume of light. I have designed in about 70 feet of what we call the SRP strip lighting. Where I like to use it the most is under soffits on homes because it gives you a nice moonlighting effect, and this channel that it mounts in will mount right underneath your soffit. It's less than 1 inch and it's very discreet. And the last fixture we're going to use on this project is a path light. It emits light down in a circular fashion to direct foot traffic, but in this case also illuminating flowers and ground cover. Now George, when it comes to power and control, what we're going to use from the FX lineup is what we call the DX transformer. This is a digital display transformer that has a built-in astronomical timer. So if you like your lights to come on when it gets dark, go off at a set time, or go off when the sun comes up, it'll allow for that to happen. The next product we need is cable to connect our fixtures in the field back to our low voltage landscape lighting transformer. What we're using today is a 12 gauge, 2-conductor, multi-strand direct burial cable. That means this jacket is designed to be buried directly in your yard, whether it be the mulch bed or in your turf. So it doesn't require any type of conduit, and that makes the installation a lot easier. The next thing we need to do is find a reliable power source on the exterior of the home. This one looks like it's fairly new, but I've come to not trust any outdoor outlets, so I always bring an outlet tester. All 3 lights are lighting up to indicate to us not only does it have power, but it's grounded and the hot and the neutral are in the right location. So we should be setting out to mount our transformer. You want to make sure that the bottom of the transformer is at least 18 inches off of grade. In this case, I moved it 2 feet off of grade because here in the Midwest, we tend to get snow. Now to make the installation look nice and clean, I used an 1.5 inch electrical conduit with a male adapter and a nut. So we want it to look pretty even though it's on a wall with other utilities and hidden. Always make sure that you use a GFCI outlet with a bubble cover. It's time for the installation process. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start on the corner with this birch tree, which we have 2 accent lights illuminating it from either side. So we're just gonna place those in the general proximity. It's very important that we run the cable above ground, wire up the fixtures before we permanently bury the cable for a couple of reasons. Number 1, we wanna test the lights and make sure they actually come on. Number 2 is that every landscape lighting system requires a nighttime focus. The My Design gives us a good idea of the general proximity where the lights need to be, but only at nighttime will you know the exact location and adjustment where your landscape looks the best. Now that's why I love the 10-foot leads on all the FX fixtures. I like to bury at least 5 or 6 feet of cable at every fixture. Either use a zip tie or a rubber band to band up the extra wire and bury it with a soil staple over the top right in the mulch bed, because your landscape's gonna grow and things are gonna change. And when they do, that's gonna require your landscape lights being moved. Knowing you have that extra 5 or 6 feet at every fixture ensures that changes you make further down the road will be very easy. Now that we have these fixtures temped in and wired up, the last thing left for us to do is put the lamp inside of it. In this particular case, we're using a 20-watt equivalent MR16 drop-in lamp that has a beam spread of 35 degrees. So to insert it, it's very simple. Once you unthread the shield off the uplight, you're just simply gonna slide the MR16 into position. It has little socket savers on either side that will hold that MR16 in there nice and tight. And then we're gonna go ahead and thread the glare shield back over the top, and we'll power it up, make sure it works, and play with it during our nighttime adjustment. Now, George, when it comes to the longevity of your low voltage landscape lighting system, it's all about the connection. 24 volt wire nut connectors that are gel filled is pretty standard in the industry. I don't care for them because if you have just a little tug, then that happens and it falls apart. A little bit of corrosion gets in there, moisture gets on it, it builds condensation, and your lights become dimmer over time, and that's a problem. So what I like to do is use a brass heat shrink connection. Now these cost a lot more than a wire nut. However, the difference maker is when you have a good inline heat shrink connection like that, you can yank on this all day and it's going nowhere. Now when it comes to wiring your fixtures, having a good pair of wire strippers is critical. It's a multi-strand wire, and every single one of those tiny multi-strands accounts for 2% of the overall voltage going through it. So if you happen to cut a few of those wires, you could have a tremendous voltage drop that you don't want to have. Now we're ready to wire up the 2 lights that are going to be on this birch tree here. I have 2 landscape lighting fixtures. Does not matter polarity, I just need to make sure that I intertwine 2 of them together and the opposing 2 together. Once I have that set, so we have 1 lead from each fixture bound together, now I'm ready to connect them to the brass barrel connectors on our home run wire back to our transformer. Now the last thing I want to do is heat shrink these connections. With low voltage LED fixtures, I need to maintain between 10 to 15 volts at the fixture in order for the same lumen output and color temperature to happen at both fixtures. Now when we bury the cable in the turf, we want it at least 6 inches deep because we want it below aeration line. Now I try to do this in the most simplest fashion. Step on your sod spade, get it down that 5 or 6 inch depth, and then you're gonna work the spade forward and back. So you're opening up almost a V-shaped taper, and then that gives me a channel to place my cable inside of, and I'll take something like a slot screwdriver or anything long and narrow that can assist me in pushing that cable down to the full depth that I made with the sod spade. And then once you get that into position, you want to walk it over and step it down, and make sure you turn on your irrigation system, because whenever you perform surgery on your yard, the #1 remedy is water. So you're probably asking yourself, how do I know how many fixtures I can put on a single wire run, and how long can that wire run actually be? Because our enemy in landscape lighting installation is what we call voltage drop. And we know we need to maintain between 10 and 15 volts at each fixture for them to perform the way they were designed. So at fxl.com, under the Professionals tab, we have a tool called Voltage Drop Calculator that allows you to put in the gauge cable that you're working with, the load, the wattage consumption of each fixture, and the overall distance of wire you have on that wire run. This is a great tool that will help you decide how many wire runs you need and how many fixtures you can have on each one before you actually put a shovel in the ground. So we've installed a total of 12 fixtures in the front yard, and we've broken that up into 2 runs of 12 gauge wire going back to the transformer. On one of those runs, we've got the 4 uplights on the maple tree tied in to the 2 uplights we have on the birch tree behind me. Our second wire run in the front yard includes these 3 fixtures in the parkway, in addition to 3 additional fixtures in the front landscape bed. Now, in order to get our wire under the sidewalk here, we had to call in a favor from our friends over at Mini Trencher, and they brought out their new sideboard drill, which allowed us to auger, being minimally invasive to the turf on either side, and auger underneath, and then we simply pulled our wire back through. In the front of the property, we do have 1 additional wire run, but it's not powering anything on the ground. In actuality, that 3rd wire run is only powering our SRP strip lighting that we're using for downlighting on this side of the garage to additionally light the pathway, but also using it for the back canvas of the property here as well. We have this aluminum grate that we mount and screw to the inside of the soffit, and then once that's all screwed in and in position, we simply take our SRP light, place it into the channel. Once that's in, we have our home run wire, which is a thinner gauge than the 12 gauge 2 conductor wire, and I simply hide that behind the gutter and I run it to what we call our LV dimmer. Anytime I install SRP lighting, I like to put a dimmer box in because it can control the lumen output from full intensity 100% all the way down to 1%. Now in the backyard, I installed some additional SRP lighting, but I put a little surprise in there for George. SRP lighting actually comes in color as well. His daughter's favorite color is pink, so that's what I decided to make it. This box right here, we call the CCC control box. And this, like the low voltage dimmer, will control the intensity of the light from 1 to 100%, but it also allows you to manipulate the hue and the saturation, which means you can come up with any one of 30,000 different colors coming out of your SRP lighting. So now we're back at our DX transformer and we're gonna go over the proper way to wire it. First step, unplug the transformer. Once the transformer is unplugged, then you're safe to wire. We have 5 total wire runs at George's house. 1 lead from each one of those wire runs, I have cable tied together and I have wired to what we call the C terminal, stands for common. This is what we call a multi-tap transformer, meaning the low voltage power can come out at 12 volt, 13 volt, or 14 volt. The wire runs that are furthest away from your transformer, I recommend putting on the higher voltage tap so that it helps overcome that voltage drop that will occur in the wire. But the best part about the DX is the actual setup. Remember, I told you it has an astronomical timer built inside of it. So to do that, all I'm gonna do is go here to location and you'll see a map of the United States. And simply by moving the dial, I can change the longitude and latitude. So I set it right to the Chicagoland area and it's dialed in. And now automatically it knows what time the sun is gonna go up and the sun is gonna go down, and daylight savings is built into it, along with a 4-year lithium battery. In the event of a power outage, it'll keep all those settings for you for a 4-year duration. We spent the whole day running wire, installing fixtures, and getting this place dialed in.
Oh, you spent the whole day doing that.
That's true. You did watch me though. You got me a couple of Gatorades, so that counts for something. Now you know what your place looks like during the day, but are you ready for the real show?
Dude,
Definitely.
I am so ready.
This is the power of a professionally installed landscape lighting system. See, at Hunter Industries and FX Luminaire, our mission is to enhance outdoor living space both day and night.
If you're feeling inspired by what you saw in today's video and you want to start your own journey into landscape lighting, then click the link below.
Heritage Landscape Supply is your go-to destination for all of your FX Luminaire needs and all outdoor supplies.